See here, we will have Dominic coming up real quick to the Buckle Up podcast universe with Random Rush. Dom. Oh, no. My friend's name's Dom, Mom. No,
Yeah.
not you. Give me 1 second, Dominic.
All right.
Hey, Mom, my friend's name's Dom, so I'm not saying Mom. But it's my friend's name's Dominic. Dom. Not Mom. Dom. Dom. D-O-M. My friend's on the show. Hey, Dominic, sorry.
That's all right, brother. It's so good seeing you again, man.
Yeah, good seeing you too, brother. I was trying to explain to my mom. I'm like, hey, my friend Dom. She's like,
I heard that. Yeah. I dealt with that my whole childhood. My sister would be like, Mom. I'm like, what? I thought you were saying Dom or whole childhood.
Yeah, man. Well, dude, Dominic, welcome to the Buckle Up podcast universe with Brandon Rush today. My mom isn't going to be on today. It's going to be me and you, man. First of all, thank you for coming on, brother.
I appreciate you having me, dude. This is a great opportunity. I really appreciate it. This is awesome.
Hey, I'm happy that you're here, man. We have, just to check our numbers, we had 7.8 million viewers / listeners as of last night and in 18 countries.
Yeah, I've been watching. I've been watching since, I've been checking out your numbers. I'm like, man, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, trying, brother. Trying, man. Look, your place looks amazing, by the way.
Oh, thank you, man. This is my house I live in Clear Lake in Virginia.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy smokes, man.
Yeah, thank you. It's up for sale. If you know anybody out there that wants to buy a house on a lake, it's
hey, are you saying it's on the lake too?
Yeah. Here, while I'm here, I'll show you my backyard.
Yeah, definitely, brother. Man, this place looks amazing.
Look at my backyard.
Oh, wow. Dude, that's killer, man. You sure you don't want to hold on to that?
Yeah, no, I'm good, man. It's too much house. Too much house for one person.
I understand that, man. Well, it looks absolutely beautiful.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, dude.
Well, Dom, it's all about you today, man. Going into your story, as I said, this isn't everybody that comes on. You're always welcome back on. So, and we're boys. So, I had a blast hanging out with you the other day, man. It was awesome.
Oh, it was so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Dominic, man. So, tell me, we're going to talk about yourself. One thing that you kind of said to me before was that one of the things we do with Buckle Up Podcast is we're trying to help and kind of inspire kids, or not inspire, but actually it is a little bit. Helping out kids with the journey that are leaving high school, thinking about going either to college, thinking about going into the military, thinking about going to college through the military, or going into the workforce.
Well, yeah, absolutely. So I'll give you a little background. So as a young adult, graduating high school, I had no clue what I wanted to do. I knew at one point I wanted a college education. But I just knew I wasn't mature enough to go. There's so many kids out there that are 18. I'm like, I'm going to get my degree. I'm going to be a doctor and do all this stuff. I wasn't that person. Yeah. I was like, let's party, So I decided to join the Army right off the bat. And to me, it was one of the best decisions of my life. It's been a roller coaster ride ever since joining. I mean, I served over almost 25 full years in the military.
Holy smokes.
I started in August of 99 and I just retired in January of 2024.
Congratulations and thank you for your service too, Dom. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So it was a long journey, lots of bumps in the road, which you have that. And I love listening to people complain about their work environment and that's how it is everywhere. I don't know what to tell you. It's like that in the Army too. But I honestly, I finished my career as a recruiter. I'm gonna fast forward through my career because, I really want to inspire a lot of students that are, in that area of I need to go to college. I need to do this to make money. And I want to make a bunch of money first. And it's and I can't afford college or whatever their excuse is. And, as a recruiter, I heard so many things oh, I'm going to play football. And I'm like, okay, and this is a guy that is a defensive lineman. He's 5'9", 220 pounds, and he's a senior in high school. And it's come on, dude. You hear that so much. And I'm 6'4", and I was 200 and some pounds in high school. And I blew out my knee, and that was it. You don't hear anything. Granted, I wasn't mean enough, and I wasn't fast enough either. So
but still, but you had the making of an NFL athlete, of a varsity athlete, as Tony Soprano would say.
For sure, yeah. I mean, absolutely. I have the size, I have the physique, I have the athleticism. I just didn't have that speed or whatever, that you need to get to that next level. But a lot of these kids don't understand what it takes. A lot of them want to be Facebook famous or whatever, and it's just when you're recruiting, like my job, not being from Virginia, Southwest Virginia, in the middle of nowhere. From Scranton, Pennsylvania. It's not like it's a huge town, but it's the home of the office.
Yeah.
You know, home of Biden or whoever you want to talk about. You know?
Yeah.
But it's a good size city, you know, and there's no people like that in Northeast Pennsylvania. Like, we are one of a kind of like a people. Like, we're like, mostly everybody I know from there is brutally honest. We're just one. That's just who we are. And we like to have a good time most of the time. So for me, coming down here to Southwest Virginia, I felt like you have to be a chameleon is the way I look at it when you're recruiting, because I recruited at Virginia Tech, where you have students from Northern Virginia or Syracuse or California, or wherever these people are coming from. And then you recruit high schools that this is Billy John from, nowhere,
nowhere,
no one's ever heard of.
Yeah.
28 people are graduating as high school. So you have to be able to talk and have a relation with a wide range of people. So my first thing when talking to recruits or just students, like I'd like to mentor some of these kids.
Yeah.
Hey, like, okay, cool. I get maybe the Army's not for you, or the Guard, the National Guard, or the Marines or the Air Force or whatever. But I don't think college is for you either. Like, why not do a trade? I used to do a whole presentation on the benefits of actually going to get a trade while you're in high school, or while you go to college first. Because there's programs here in Virginia that offer free programs for underprivileged students.
I never even knew that. And I'm from Virginia. Virginia, and I didn't know that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's so many programs out there for lower income families, that have kids that are getting ready to go to school. And a lot of them want to be like welders or diesel mechanics. And I understand that, because they want to work on their parents' farms or something like that, because this is very rural out here. But at the same time, if you're not going to be working on that farm, what are you going to do with that certification? Like,
exactly.
I know electricians here that make like $180 an hour.
Wow, that's good money, especially for Virginia. That's good money anywhere. That's good money
anywhere. That's good money. Granted, they work their tails off, and then plumbers, they're making $120 an hour. Like, so there's money to be had. And I'm like, go work for this guy as an apprentice. You'll make $50 an hour.
Yeah.
You won't make that graduating college after 4 years.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So that was my main goal, is try to just show them different avenues. But I also, even if they did that, I'm like, why not do the military? Like, I didn't know there was a National Guard before. I probably would have joined the Army National Guard first to help me mature. I probably would have, yeah. And the reason I say that is my cousin, I got her to join the National Guard. She's got her head on way straighter than I do. She's way younger than I am, but she's very mature for her age and very focused. I was not that way,
Yeah,
I'm still growing up, and I'm 44 years old. So I like to say, I had a big part on her future. Like, she's saving all this money.
Yeah.
She joined while she was a junior in high school.
Really?
She got her basic training out of the way. Then when she graduated high school, she got her her job, which they call MOS training for the Army. I don't know what the other branches call it. So she got her MOS training done, and then she went to school. And then she's making money going to college.
Dude, that's awesome. Good for her, and good for you. One of the things I think was great, Dom, is the fact that not only with you recruiting, but you literally helped. You said she's your niece, or you said she's your cousin? I can't remember. Would you say
cousin? Your niece, your cousin? She's my second cousin's daughter.
Okay, yeah. So your cousin, you literally helped guide her, which is one of the things we're doing with this. You literally helped guide her. Hey, I think this would be a good step for you to take, which should help you be better off instead of spending your life in debt. You'll be starting ahead of the game. Right.
And she's got money saved for a house or a new car, whatever. She has such an emergency fund.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And she's graduating earlier. So it's so incredible. What the military and the opportunities that it can actually provide for you before you come in, while you're in, and when you get out. You just have to know who to talk to and how to get those steps going. And, the VA does have a bad like name,
Yeah.
but honestly though, I can't blame them. They're understaffed
Yeah.
in a lot of areas, in educational areas, especially in the medical areas. Like, you know, when you're going through something, if you want to schedule an appointment for a psychologist, like you could get in right away, but you talk to this person and then you talk to this person and this person and say, okay, cool, we'll get you someone to talk to on a regular basis. I'm like, why did I have 3 other appointments? The
Yeah.
process is just a little flustered. It's a
Yeah.
little, it's cool. It's just so messed
Convoluted.
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
convoluted. Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Good.
So it's just for me, I'm like, I wish I could talk to someone like, how can we fix this? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? For soldiers getting out, or any veterans getting out, because that's where the problem lies for
Hmm.
people getting out of service. I applied for a vocational rehabilitation. I'm 100% disabled from the VA, for all my ailments.
Yeah.
They pay you for them. So I am allowed to, they help me find a job. Well, I'm sitting here, it's, what is it, June 9th? And I applied for it in April of 2024. And it's
Holy
2025.
smokes! It's been like almost over a year, over a year, a little
Over
over
a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got approved for it, but getting this person to coordinate with this person, it's just like I have
Why
to do
that?
all the legwork for it. And it's not how it should be. It shouldn't be
No,
that
not
hard.
at all.
So
It should be smooth and streamlined. That's kind of crazy to hear you say that. I never would have thought that.
right. So all I'm trying to do is get my MBA from Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
So which I got, actually, when we were meeting that day, I got an email saying that they finally talked and got everything coordinated. So I'm just waiting to hear what my next step is. Like,
Oh,
what do I do now?
congratulations, brother.
So I should be starting my MBA soon.
Nice. You're gonna go actually physically to the school and do it, or are you gonna
They have an online one. I'd rather do that because right now I'm, like I said, I got the
go on through
freedom
life?
to do what I want,
Yeah.
and I want to be able to travel whenever I want to.
Oh
So
yeah, absolutely, man.
yeah.
Traveling is so important. Dom, that I think that's first off, you gave so much useful information and even explaining things I didn't even know about, even to soldiers out there that are getting out, that are probably going through. I would assume that honestly, there's probably thousands of soldiers that are going through the same thing and trying to figure out and not knowing who to talk to. Maybe they need to create a position that does specifically that.
So they have like a program where you get out and you go to these offices and do all this stuff. Some of them are helpful, some of them just kind of rush you through, but it's also on the individual to take that knowledge and what it's worth. Like, but honestly, if they could give you the information, but if someone is not in that office to help you get what you need done, like after you're out, then
Yeah.
like what's the point of even going through these steps? Like, they have resume building classes, they have so many different classes like
Oh
that
wow.
for soldiers. But like, honestly, like you come out of the military with 4 years, and I was a field artillery guy, which is a cannon crew member. You're qualified to do absolutely nothing. Like, there's no civilian job for sending shells downrange. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like you could be a cop. Congratulations. Like,
It's funny. I mean, it's not funny, Dom, but I think about when Rambo said like, and that's a movie, but he's like, I was over there flying helicopters and all this, and he said he couldn't get back. He was being serious though, at least for the Vietnam War. He was saying that he was able to fly helicopters over there, but when he got back, he couldn't even get a job like bagging groceries. But with that, the point I'm trying to lay is the fact that you're saying that even though that's extremely impressive and dangerous at that, you figure
yeah.
that there'd be all kinds of positions that you would be available for. But
Oh yeah.
so is that one of the reasons you're going back to get your MBA?
Yeah, I want to make myself more marketable.
Yeah.
Like, I have tons of leadership skills that I've used over the years, and it's great when you could sit back and reflect. Like when Corey and I come down to Columbia and we take pictures together, and I have a Facebook, I just can't get into it. I don't want to get into that, but
Yeah.
but like he'll post a picture,
Yeah.
he'll post a picture of us, and then all these soldiers start commenting on it. That makes you feel good as a leader.
Absolutely.
Like, you're like, I made an influence on somebody's life or multiple people's lives,
Yeah.
in some capacity. And for me, that's really an overwhelming good feeling for me. You know what I mean? It's just like, now what though? Like, how do I translate that into a civilian job? I could do recruiting, I could do human resources. I don't have a human resource degree, but that's the whole reason I'm kind of getting the MBA, because
Yeah.
and all encompassing of that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I want to do business. I don't know if I even want to work, but I
Yeah.
want the education case. I do want to work. I really like dealing with maybe like students that are soldiers or former soldiers. I do like that. In
Yeah.
a college setting. So I wouldn't mind offering help there wherever I do land.
Yeah.
For my final stomping grounds, but I actually had a couple interviews here at Virginia Tech.
Oh, good.
I applied for the director of alumni relations for the Corps of Cadets.
Oh, wow.
I did pretty good on the interview, I thought, but that was literally my first interview, and I don't know, since 2009. Yeah,
Okay.
2009. So it's been a while since I interviewed, and I sat here practice, and that's just something some people don't know. Like
You're right.
you have to practice for this job.
Interviews. You're absolutely right.
It's just like practicing for a speech. You have to practice for that, like over and over and over again. If not, you stumble over your words. And
oh yeah,
you should know yourself better than anybody, but you should also know the job that you're applying for and
absolutely
certain questions. And that's where I went wrong. And I was like, I sent an everybody to one of the people on the board. I'm like, what are some things that I missed that I could elaborate on? And then maybe I could send an email. And that's something everybody should think about doing.
100%.
If you get called for the next volley of rounds, because I did. But what they were looking for was people that graduated from the Corps of Cadets, which I did not.
Yeah.
Which I get it, but they wanted somebody who had maybe more alumni relations with the actual Corps of Cadets. And
that is, but you have you have that real, sorry to interrupt you, Dom. I just had to say this real quick about that. Yeah. You have the real world experience because you deployed on top of that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So don't worry about the school. You need to worry about the real life scenario of what these guys are going to see.
Right.
Is my opinion. I tried to add my 2 cents there, brother.
Yeah. I mean, and that was the whole, pretty much the job is like, you had to deal with current students for the future to make sure they stay connected with the alumni, and being a former recruiter, I think that would have been an easy transition. Yeah, an easy transition for me to show, hey, like, come on. I'm not knocking them for not picking me.
I know.
I don't know who they picked, but he obviously is probably a good, I mean, he's got to be a good candidate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's probably served.
Yeah.
I don't know if he served for 25 years, but
yeah.
I wish him well, because I like Virginia Tech. I like the Corps of Cadets. They're doing a great thing, and not being from here, I'm a Penn State fan through and through.
Yeah, so, I know, right?
It's still awesome watching Enter the Sandman, though.
Yeah, seriously, so cool.
So, but yeah, it's really nice.
Well, Dominic, one good thing about this too is why this has been such a blessing, man. I've been blessed to meet people from all around the world, even you, even all of Corey's friends I've had the opportunity to meet, and then just people I met in my own travels. I have so many people coming on this because basically what I was showing is the fact that I have this huge network, but how that we can all work together. So with this, because we have so many people listening and so many viewing, I hope someone out here, you will be able to use this, I believe, to be able to secure another position, or someone out here will hear, hey, wait, who's this Dominic guy? Dominic Nardelli. Dominic, say your whole name for them. This is Dominic Nardelli, right?
Correct. You said it right.
I was making sure I said it correctly. Someone out there might, hey, let's reach out to this Dominic guy that we heard on the Buckle Up podcast, or you can send them the link as well. I'll give this all to you so you have it. But this is definitely opening people up for positions. I've seen people's businesses have been going really well. That's what I want, is to have exposure for everybody on this big of a platform. So with what you're saying, if it ends up not being Virginia Tech, I'll personally say this, that is their loss, because I know you personally, but maybe another college like UVA or if University of Florida asked you to come down, would you go to University of Florida?
Oh, absolutely. That's where I'm trying to look to relocate. Actually, I'm looking to relocate down in the Fort Lauderdale area. I've been down there the last 3 years, man, and it just gets nicer and nicer. It's just a nice area. It's a bunch of, like, the good thing about it is you have older retirees that are there predominantly. Like obviously that's what Florida's like known for.
Yeah.
But then and what I like about the Fort Lauderdale area is like the people that don't want to be in Miami and they're younger around our age.
Yeah.
You still have them and you go out to eat and you see all these people and it's just a good vibe. It's happy
Yeah, man.
vibes down there and no drama, just peaceful sounds of the ocean. That's what I
Yeah.
want.
That's what you need right now.
Right.
And so Dominic, like, you know, where I always say this a lot of times, well, your mom says it too, like when God closes one door or pulls you out of a situation you're not used to, not supposed to be in, God will pull you out of a situation and put you in the right one. So just because that Virginia Tech door might not be the one, there's a feeling where you're like, man, I need to go down to Fort Lauderdale. You have that feeling, and easily that can turn into that position that you don't see right now is because you needed to get down to Florida where that job was waiting for you.
Right.
So I'm a firm believer in that, man. I walk by faith, not by sight. That's literally been my thing.
I always say, you know, everything happens for a reason, first thing. And if like, you know, like I was just talking to my mom. I mean, I have a very close relationship with my mother as well.
Oh, good,
like,
good.
I think that's why I like you so much.
Oh, yeah, man.
but you know, I was telling her, you know, I've had a lot of, you know, bad relations in my life and tough times. I mean, the military's, you know, puts a damper on your life and your livelihood and what you do. And, you know, it's a lot of stressors and some people don't know how to deal with that. And I don't fault them, but the way I look at it is that's cool. I'm just going to level up. I always level up. You know?
Man. Like
I'll find out something.
Yeah, I had someone laughing at you because you said level up. Like when you play video games, you might be. I'd say that I tell everybody I'm at that level 8 character, but you know that dark character that you got to unlock at that level 10. You're heading towards that level 10.
I'm getting level 10, buddy. I'm in Mario Kart right now.
Yeah,
exactly right.
So, Dom, one question I wanted to like. I like that you have that. That's great that you have a relationship with your mom. I was really close to my dad too, but he passed of pancreatic cancer a couple years ago, and that's been devastating. Thank you, brother. But I do contribute to my parents for the way that I am, and I think that's been a blessing because I've always been trying to give back. I've always been a good person to people, and I always find kindred souls. That's why I connected so much with you. That's why I've connected so much with Corey, and I even hung out with Robert the other day. And I realized I see like Corey is so loved by everybody, and I see what you guys and like it's like you guys like brothers, and I can understand that because it's like kindred souls that you just find that person that you instantly gravitate towards. Yeah, and I think that's so important. And so, Dom, one thing when you're saying you and your mom being so close, you said you grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
Dude, what was life like? So let's take it back to you being a kid. How does Dom get from being this recruiter, partying hard and becoming a recruiter or whatever to how do you get there, Dom? Let me tell you tell me about Scranton life.
Oh man, Scranton life.
And your parents too. Let's do both, Dom.
So I have an Italian background, if you can't pick that up from my name. I'm very close to my father as well. He's still alive, and I thank both of my parents for molding me into the man I am today, for sure. I think, I like where I grew up, it's a big town they're known for football and wrestling specifically, where my high school, I went to West Scranton High School. And, I think it was my senior year was the first year our high school won the district championship for West Scranton, for that whole area. And we took 11 out of the 13 weight classes to regionals. We were really good. We could have been really, really good, but it's your kids.
Yeah.
You don't realize how important that could be one day. And I always tell people, if you're training hard, there's always somebody out there training harder than you.
Dom, 100%. I'm right there with you, brother. 100%.
Right. And so like, I was the type of student, I'm still like this. I'm retired and I still wake up at like 6 o'clock every morning. I don't know why, but it just discipline. I could go to bed at 10 o'clock. I'm up at 6 o'clock. I could go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So it's just the way, it's like my internal clock says, you got to get up at 6.
Yeah.
So I do. And, but like I would walk to school most of the time, or catch a ride. I would go to the gym first and I would work out. And
Yeah.
then after that, I would go to homeroom, take a nap, and then I would go to my classes. Most likely I'd sleep through like my first 2 classes. And,
Yeah.
and then like I would catch up on my homework and stuff in like study hall, and then school would end, and then you go to wrestling practice, and then just do
Yeah.
that stuff repeat, or football practice or whatever. I never did track in high school. I just was burnt out. Like
Yeah.
wrestling,
From wrestling's
football
enough, bro. Yeah.
yeah, football and wrestling takes a lot out of you, and
Yes, it
working
does.
out every day, you're trying to stay fit, takes a lot out of you. It's a lot of dedication. Um, we've had a couple pro athletes come out of there, out of West Scranton, which is pretty
Okay.
cool. I don't know if you ever heard the name Bill Ferrario. He played for Green Bay Packers. He was a lineman for Brett Favre back in the day.
Not the big black guy.
No,
He's
a big white Italian guy.
Okay.
You ever hear the name Mark Spindler? He played back in the 80s. He was a defensive end. He came out of there. He played with Barry Sanders on Detroit Lions.
Holy smokes. Okay.
For most of his career. He was bounced around after Detroit, but and that's just to name 2 that I could think of off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But we're pretty known for football. Wrestlers, we've got a lot of good wrestlers that come out of there. Like Pennsylvania is obviously known for more wrestling
and football. Yeah.
Any other state, especially now that Penn State's blowing up. Like
they're back. Yeah, they're back in it.
Yeah. So, so that that's like every day. Like was like I just liked to go to school and party on the weekends with my friends. That was me in high school, and then like, like I said, my senior year rolled around, and I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta get ready. What am I gonna do? Like, what am I doing with my life?" So, to get out of school, because this is how I always finagled the way to get out of school. I'm like, "Let's go visit this school, mom and dad," and we'd go to some crappy business school that's no longer there. I'm like, "Yeah, this is what I think I'm thinking about." That's kind of who I was, and I'm like a joke. I like to joke around, so I joked around a lot with students and my fellow students, and definitely teachers.
Okay. Any teachers you can remember, Dom, or someone that made a huge, outside of your parents, anyone that you can think of along the lines of your lifetime that has made a huge impact on you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have coaches. My wrestling coach, Coach Bucka, he made a really good positive influence on my John Richter. There's too many to name, to be quite honest.
Understandable, brother.
Sports realm. But like those 2, like even like parents, like my friend's parents, like my buddy Jimmy Morgan, he's a year behind me. Okay. He went to States. He wrestled for left Pitt, and then he wrestled for a local university. I think it was King's. But his dad, Dave Morgan, like he was at all of our wrestling matches with us, and it was like we had a crew, because when we were little, I started wrestling in like 5th grade,
Really?
So yeah. Wow. We had a crew that we would travel with. Like we'd go up to Binghamton, we'd go over to Penn State, we'd go to all these wrestling tournaments, and that's how you get better. You got to, the more you do it, the better you get. So like my parent, they sacrificed a lot, a lot of their time. And my dad would work 3rd shifts and be sleeping in the benches and waiting for us to wrestle.
Holy smokes. Yeah.
He'd drive us from here to there, and think about all the money that they spend on food and hotels, travel, just gas and all that stuff. It's the fees to get into the tournaments and stuff like that. The shoes, all of the stuff, and that's what I think, like my parents, even all like my parents' friends of people that wrestled are on my team. Like it was a tight community. It really is.
Which is important. Dom, I'm glad you mentioned that. And that's so important, because like kids, actually it's been for years, not just kids these days. It's so many people don't realize the sacrifices. And I'm glad you pointed it out, because my parents made a hell of sacrifices. Yeah. Just like yours did. But the fact that you're able to acknowledge that, because sometimes you have people I'm sure you come across that don't realize all the sacrifices that their parents have made so that they could be where they are and still feel entitled or expect more. And it's like, look, your parents gave up a lot. So like even saying your dad being, I know at one point my dad worked 2 jobs. At one point my mom was working 2 jobs. But they still showed up and did the best they could. And so for you to, so for you to say that, Dom, like about your parents, like, hey, your dad was working 3rd shift and still would be at your matches. Look how great of a man you turned out to be. And not just you. I'm sure that your friends that you mentioned, I'm sure they were impacted by your dad and your mom as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. My mom is the definition of you know, taking care of the family, like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Cooking, cleaning, make sure our clothes were clean. She is above and beyond like that. And then my dad is like, what do we need paid? Like he is
Yeah.
like, it's the traditional, like
Yeah.
leave
It is.
receiver kind of like role, you know. And then my mom didn't go to work until I was like going to school,
Mhm.
like I was 4 or 5 years old or whatever, and then she became a phlebotomist, and that's
Oh,
when she
wow.
started. Yeah, she started her stuff then. Yeah,
Wait, I'm saying you say it for blood, like like dead
phlebotomist,
body?
people that draw your blood when you go to like the
Oh, okay.
doctor's
Sorry, man. That's
office.
how special I am. It took me a second.
Yeah, yeah, phlebotomist. Yeah. And then she eventually finished with, she did credentialing for doctors' offices and like pivot physical therapists' offices. If you ever seen those, those are nationwide. Well, they've been bought out, but she did credentialing for all the doctor certifications and stuff like that. And then
Oh, wow.
my dad retired from, he was a Teamster for 22 years or something like that.
Love Teamsters, man.
He loaded trucks for 22 years in the Poconos and in Pennsylvania at Roadway Express. And then, can I say business names? Is that
Yeah,
cool?
yeah, you can't. Yeah, well,
Because they're no longer in business even.
okay, you're welcome to say. Yeah, you're welcome to. It doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt me. Yeah, as long as you're
Yeah,
able to. You're
and
fine.
then he's now he's like a career counselor, like for younger kids. Like he'll like, if you wanted to be a doctor, he's like, okay, come on, we'll do a field trip. He takes these kids to a hospital and shows them what doctors do.
Wow.
Yeah, so he does a lot of that. He's getting ready to retire though. Like
Yeah.
I think he's doing one more year and he's gonna retire. So
Well, congratulations to your dad. I think that's
yeah,
great what he's doing. You're honestly, Dom, it's crazy. Your dad sounds a lot like my dad.
yeah,
Because my dad was a coach too. Even when my dad passed away, so many of his prior players came and showed up to his funeral. Like that
oh
showed the
yeah,
world about who my dad was. But
yeah,
I see where you get it from because I try to be like my dad so much. And I see the fact that your dad, your dad did that for students, like you said, taking them to the hospital and stuff like that. Just like you as a recruiter, you might not have been taking them to the hospital, but you
yeah.
still then and still now are trying to help guide people with, hey, this is what you should do. So it's like I feel like you probably saw your dad doing that, and it instantly became part of you. Maybe I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's like instinct. It's just like, oh, I could help you, and then that's just how I've always been. It's like I could help you. It's just I'm a giver. I
Yeah,
really
man.
am. You know, if I'm not going to give you, I might not necessarily. I'd rather not give you money because I know that's not going to help you.
Yeah,
You know, it'll help you this much, but if I give you advice, sound advice on how to get this much money, that might
yeah,
help you more so. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I'd rather do that than you know constantly give, unless it's somebody that's desperately in need and I know that they need it like
yeah,
100%. You know, it's a little different in something like that. But like my dad, he gave his time, and I saw that. My mom gave her time too.
yeah.
Absolutely. So
Dom, you tagged on something else, man, that I wanted to mention. I always tell people, like, I don't care how much money you make. I don't care, even relationships and all that kind of stuff. The most important thing to me, and I think it's more valuable than gold or money, is time. If
yeah,
a person gives of their time, that says a lot about them, first off, but that's more value than anything because that person's taken away from something they could be doing. And that
exactly.
shows in a prime example that even though you guys do it for each other, you drove from Virginia down to South Carolina to take Corey to that appointment. If you couldn't make it, I was actually planning on
Yeah,
going. So, but look at that. Where people don't know, that's like from Richmond is 6 hours, but I'm not sure where it is from you or where you're at. But still, you drove that time
yeah,
for a friend, which is something that everybody that needs it, that's on here needs to hear. Because I've seen people who I've made sacrifices like that for my
yeah.
not sacrifices. You did it because you love them, or you do that because that's what you do. That's how you're built. But so many people don't always reciprocate that.
Yeah. Well, you want to know how I that's not why I was down there
Oh,
actually.
okay.
So I have a friend that I went to high school with. She lives in Myrtle Beach,
Okay.
and her she had somebody pass away in her family, and her son was down there, and she's like, I got to pull him out of school, and it was the last week of school, like they had finals and stuff like that. I said, absolutely not. So I
Yeah.
left here. And I
Wow.
drove down there and I took him back and forth to school every day. Well, she took care
Wow.
of arrangements down in Florida. And then I drove him to Florida so she could spend the time with him in Universal. And
Man.
then I drove up to take Corey to an appointment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, this is why I love this show. This is why I love people like you, Dom. Look at
Yeah.
that. It related exactly to what I just said. You gave of your time,
Yeah.
not expecting anything in return because you saw a young man that you didn't want to. First of all, you did two things here. one, you saw your friend needed help, but she didn't ask for, but you did it anyway. You're like, hey, look,
Yeah.
you're stepping up as a good man that you are, and the man that your parents raised you to be in your community. And then you're helping out this other young man who in turn is probably going to remember that the rest of his lifetime. Like, hey, this guy
I
came
hope
here.
so. Yeah. He's a good kid. He really is. Yeah.
And that's just a blessing. That's what as humans, that's what we're supposed to do.
And if I didn't, obviously, if I was working 60 hours a week and going to school online right now, I'd be like, I just couldn't do it. I wouldn't even.
Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah,
but
within
like,
reason.
I have the time right now. All I'm doing is looking at this lake, and just enjoying time with my friends. So like, why not help somebody who needs help? That's easy to me. Like Corey, he had to have that surgery or whatever.
Yeah.
That's easy. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll be there for you, dude, So
yeah,
that's the easy stuff for me. It's like when, and so I just rekindled the relationship with my older daughter. I think I was telling you about this, but her boyfriend, I was telling him, he was asking me about my military career, and he's like, what's the toughest thing about the military?
Yeah.
I said, sacrificing the time that
family.
you do with the military for your family.
Yeah.
I said, so when you do get the time with your family, you try to take full advantage of every minute you have.
Man, Dom, that's deep. I never even thought about it from that aspect.
I mean, you sacrifice, just think about it, man. Like, people think of the Army National Guard, it's part-time, but I was full-time for the Army National Guard, just like Corey was.
Yeah.
And, you're going to work, you still have to do your physical fitness stuff. You have to pass your all your tests for that. You're trying to get promoted, you're doing your career development stuff with the Army stuff. And then you also have to do personal development stuff. So that's where I was trying to get college done. And then you still have to do your job.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot to do.
Yeah. And then Dominic, even your position, like that's a dangerous position. Not that all the positions aren't dangerous, but I'm saying like you were dealing with artillery, I believe you said, right?
So I had multiple jobs. I started out my career in artillery, and then I cross-trained in 0405 as an MP, which is military police.
Yeah.
I never got the designation for that deployment to the Middle East in 0405. I deployed with the 1st of the 109th Field Artillery out of Kingston, Pennsylvania, which is Wilkes-Barre, essentially. And then once I got back from there, I finished my associate's degree at Penn State. And then that's when I moved to South Carolina. I was a state trooper for 2 years, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in the Lexington, Columbia area.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't afford to live. They don't pay as well as they do up north or even here even. So I applied for the AGR job, the Active Guard Reserve job, and I got hired in Edgefield. So that's what made me kind of get back into the military more full stride. Yeah. And to me, it was like I could retire in, 15 years, or I could retire in 20 years and 2 months. Like, so yeah. To me, it was a no-brainer to make that transition. But once I moved to South Carolina, I got a job as a combat engineer.
Okay. Oh, that's what my grandfather was.
Yeah.
For the Army.
With explosives.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. He was a combat
finding
engineer.
the mines and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that. I loved that job. It was probably my favorite job in the military. And then when I moved from South Carolina to Pennsylvania, I had to get my truck driver job. MLS.
Okay.
So I was a truck driver for like 18 months until
those are the big ones. Are those like the big ones, the big green ones?
The big Army trucks. Yeah. Well, I could pretty much drive any vehicle in the military or in the Army. So, but then when I moved to Virginia, I went to recruiter school. So
okay. Man, you've lived a bunch of different lives here.
Dom. I'm telling you, I got lots of chapters to my stories.
Well, honestly, I'm gonna keep getting all these chapters. It doesn't have to be today, but when I have you back on, I'll definitely get the chapters in. Dom, one thing I want to say, I know that you said that I'm glad that you're able to rekindle with your daughter, and hopefully, even I never thought about you saying like the fact that you sacrifice time from your family, and then your family probably misses you too, but not as a kid, not always being able to understand like, hey, why is dad not here? Well, dad's doing this to provide too. And doing the service for the military. So it's like so many people don't see, like, there's so many different levels, and that's different from the generation now, Dom, where some of the older generation, they were shell shocked and didn't know how to show the love to their kids. That's the difference.
Right. Oh yeah.
But I'm talking about like, and just grew up in a harder generation. That's where my grandfather, who I love to death, but he kind of grew up in that on my dad's side. He grew up in that kind of tough love generation thing.
Yeah.
Just because of his life situations. But it's with you saying the rekindling, it's maybe I understand it. I appreciate what you're doing. Let me just say that. It's not that you didn't want to be there. It's because of the sacrifices you were making, and then maybe your person not understanding. So I just want to say thank you. Once again, you pointed out another subject that many people probably don't know. Neither I didn't even realize that until you just said it, is the fact that, hey, you've made sacrifices from your family. Your family, both the family members and the people have made sacrifices that people might not be able to understand, or even family members at the time.
Yeah, and I mean, think about the birthdays and
missed,
and everything, holidays, birthdays and holidays. You miss all of them, like the Memorial Days, the 4th of July's, the Labor Day weekend parties, the burgers and Thanksgivings and the Christmases and all. So you miss a lot. You do miss a lot. Even when you're home here, like you have a lot of field training that you have to do, and you're gone for exercises for a month here, 45 days here, 2 weeks here. You do a lot of time doing these exercises to prepare yourself for the ultimate game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're not prepared, then, I used to have a boss, and it was one of Corey's bosses. There's a saying, people always say practice makes perfect, right?
Yeah.
No, that's not true. Perfect practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
So it's not true. You gotta have perfect practice.
Yeah.
So it's funny when people say that, because every time practice makes perfect. I'm like, nah, it doesn't. Perfect practice. Perfect. It always clicks in my head.
Yeah.
Another one of his sayings was a dime dropped is a dime well spent.
Yeah. I know that's right, man. I know that's right. And yeah, Dom, it's like, and the thing is, I was thinking, even within that, if you say, hey, like, look, can I be gone? I need to be back for my daughter's birthday.
Yeah.
Everybody in the military has gone through it. So it's kind of like you miss your daughter's birthday. Well, I miss my daughter's birthday too, and my son. So it's like, it's one of those things where actually everybody's gone through what everybody has gone through. If that makes sense. It's like a circle.
Anniversaries, birthdays, Mother's Days, Father's Day. You miss it all. And it's a sacrifice you give. And I think what makes it more of a tight group and a more camaraderie within the military is because of that. That's one of the major reasons. And even when you're in Afghanistan and everybody's getting mortared, like you're all getting mortared. It's not like I'm getting mortared. There's no victim card here. Like, I'm getting mortared. Somebody save me. Like, no, we're all the victim here,
right now. Dom, you said that because Ray Solo, who was on here, she was at a place that was getting hit one time, and they were all going through it, but they were so tired. She was kind of talking about that for a second. But one thing I want to say, so both my grandfathers were in the Army, but in Virginia where we were at, there's this family called the Pageants who lived across the street from us. They are my third set of grandparents. White couple, proud Marine. God, I love the Pageants. And he had all of his stuff on the wall, so he used to always see it. But Mr. Pageant, the day he got married the night before he shipped off for World War II. I'm like, with you saying the anniversaries and you guys had that camaraderie, it's literally the fact Miss Pageant and Mr. Pageant say, literally, Brandon, I got married, and then I left for World War II the next day, and it was gone for a year, I think. Wow. And that's wild. That's in the the 30s, 40s. Like it's wild to think of. But
they still do that today. Like, hey, I'm getting deployed. I'm gonna get married real quick because I'm not. You see, honestly, you see a lot of younger like soldiers like, hey, I'm going to war, but if I die, I'd like you to have the money if something happens.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So like, you take the life insurance money and go buy your house, have a dream house, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I love you enough. I want you to be my wife or husband. Why don't we just do this thing? And then when, we'll come back, we'll go on a honeymoon. Like,
absolutely.
I don't knock anybody for doing that. I mean, there's a lot of divorces nowadays, and I get that, but that's a whole other topic.
Everywhere. Yeah,
that's a whole other topic we could talk about.
Absolutely.
And within the military, it's just like, hey, this kid loves her, let him do it, or this girl loves him, let him do it. Man, for a year or 9 months.
Absolutely.
That's what they want. Let them do it. I don't care,
man. Well, look, Dom, I don't want to hold you up too much more today. I'll make sure I hit everything I want to touch today, because Dom, I want to have you back on. because
Oh, absolutely.
my mom's gonna listen to this. My mom, a lot of times when she doesn't come on immediately, she'll listen to everybody and then she's like, "Hey, Brandon, bring him back." So a lot of times we'll have a person that comes on. It'd be my buddy Dave Ballman, the major. He's retired, but he's a
Yeah.
major in the Marines. He came on, was with me, and then my mom heard him. Most people she hears them, and then it depends. It's just sometimes she stays up late watching movies. so I think she might have been up to 8 o'clock this morning watching movies. So I understand, but yeah, Dom, dude, I absolutely love you, brother. Like I enjoyed spending time with you the other day.
Yeah.
I had such a blast, and then even hanging out with Robert the other day. I see why all three of you guys are such a tight knit group. And it's because
I appreciate that, dude. I really love you too, man. And I had this conversation with Corey the other day. I said, man, I'm glad I met a bunch of your friends. He's like, what do you mean your friends? He's like, they're your friends too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I said, well, are they? I said, are they just associates? It's not like
no friends. Yeah.
And then he made me realize, he's like, dude, he's like, they look at you like one of their own because that one time you came and hung out with us, and he's like, that's all it took, and you guys all clicked. He's like, that's just who you are, man. He's like, if they didn't like you, they would tell you.
Oh yeah, I am the king of it.
Yeah. So I was like, well, okay, cool. That's nice to know that I'm a part of this tight knit. Were you in his fraternity, by the way?
No, I wasn't in Corey's fraternity. I think I'm 5 years younger than Corey, and I happened to be when I was a freshman. He was in DU, and a situation happened one time, and he ended up being there for me, and I appreciate him for that. Just dealing with some racist asshole. That's what happened.
Yeah.
And but I had experienced in a lifetime, but I experienced on a different level that day, and he was there for me then, and we just been tight knit since then. And then he's been there for my mom countless times. He's family to me. Miles.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing with Corey. He is family to me. He's legitimately my brother. Yeah, I don't. When they say you guys siblings, I was like, yeah, I got two for sure.
Absolutely,
like my brother.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Dom, I had to say this about you too, which I appreciate you so much, man. When I asked you if you'd come on, you said, "Breed, absolutely. I would love to," and that makes me feel so good because, dude, so many of my military friends. And guy friends I've asked have come up with excuses. They're terrified of public speaking, and it's not even live; it's Zoom.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you taking initiative. Like my buddy Dave came on; he wasn't scared. Like several of my guys, it's been more girls than guys that have come on. But I appreciate you coming to the forefront, and Corey's gonna come on too. He said no problem. But I've just had so many friends that have been so scared. Instead of them just saying, "Hey, Brandon," like a lot of women that have come on, and some that haven't, have told me, "Hey, B, look, I'm terrified about public speaking, but I'll come on anyway." Right. And that's made me feel good because it's like, hey, you got to push that invisible wall of fear. And at the end of the day, you're talking to me.
Yeah. Yeah. This is just two boys talking, right?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully this will encourage some of your other military friends, or other friends in general, just to come on, even if they're timid. Like, what do you have to lose? Nothing.
Exactly. Nothing.
Yeah.
So Dom, I appreciate you today, man. I will have you back on this. And my mom's going to hear this. It'll only take me about 6 hours. I'll have the podcast station back to you, and I have the YouTube up ready for you too.
You're the man, dude.
Yeah, well, Dom, I appreciate you, brother. You knocked out of the park today, by the way.
I appreciate it, dude. Thank you.
Yeah,
good seeing you again, man.
Yeah, good seeing you too. So I'll have this back to you. Mom would probably, maybe in a week or two, Mom will want to come back on and talk to you too.
So how long are you gonna be down in Columbia? Because I'm probably coming back down. I forgot my ninja, man, and all my protein stuff.
Oh yeah, so I'm gonna be down here. So I'll be moving more to New York now. Like I'm gonna be taking over one of the things with New York, and the show's going so well. So I'll be back and forth between the two, and then going to LA some too. Like it's just, but I'll be here most likely when you get back. Like the only hard date I have right now is August 17th. Cool. But otherwise, we'll be I'll see you when you're back down here.
That's what's up then, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Dom, thank you so much, man. I always give everyone a round of applause, man. And we'll catch you soon because I said my mom's gonna want to come on and talk with you.
All right, sounds good, bro. I can't wait.
Yeah, man. All right, Dom. Have a good day, brother. Thank you so much.
You too. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.